Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV. I hope you guys are well, wherever it is that you may be around the world. I can tell I've been out for a drink. I couldn't even get my blooming countdown on properly. Believe me now. But anyway, guys, good to be back. It's been, 3-4 days since I last done a stream. Sorry, I've been a little bit quiet, but I did have a party with the lads, and you know what it's like, couple drinks, sitting up the night, etc. Plus, not too much has been going on with from the sort of Chelsea forefront as well. But today we're going to go through everything related to Chelsea, everything Chelsea. But make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. As you can see, I've got Con next to me. We're going to introduce him in a bit as well. But like I said, keep smashing the likes and let's cue that intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV. And as you can see, for the first time on GNA TV, I've been going for over a year now, Con has managed to make it. And we saw last time round when Pies was here, obviously we was meant to have been there, but unfortunately my man got a little bit tired. But he is here today. How are we doing, Con? How are you?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on. I'm sorry about last time where I fell asleep. The heat got to me. But yeah, I appreciate being on. I'm a big fan of you, Jim.
Yeah, and you, mate, and you. To be fair, one of the biggest sort of Chelsea Twitter pages boys on Twitter as well. And I think we kind of share mostly the same opinions on a lot of things, especially sort of listening to you and how, you know, in your spaces and how you sort of speak about Chelsea and certain individuals and that as well. So yeah, this is going to be a good stream. This is definitely going to be a good stream, guys. The aim of this stream today, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about Ziyech. We're going to talk about the Raheem Sterling news that Fabrizio Romano brought out today. We are also going to talk Dembele, Kounde, de Ligt, and a player that seems to be doing the roles at the moment, especially on social media, Neymar. Mr. Neymar, we were talking about him. So we're going to finish it off with a little bit of Thomas Tuchel as well. A little bit of a Thomas Tuchel discussion as well. But let's say hello to everyone in the chat. Obviously, Gary, big up to you, bro. Nice to see you. Vinny, big up to you as well. CFC Blues. No, Piers is not here today. It's just me and Con, guys. RD, big up to you. Coach's Corner, big up to you. Sosa, Surf, Sportswire. What else we got? Aaron, big up to you as well, my guy. Big up to you. Gavman, big up to you. Lamin, nice to see you, bro. Nice to see you as well. My guy, Wheezy in the house. CF Clutch is in the building as well. Says Con back. Yeah, Con's back, bruv. Con is in the building. Check my Twitter inbox. What have you done, bruv? Oh, what are you talking about? I'm lost, Sportswire. What link am I sharing? Send me it again. Big up to Jackser as well. Nice to see you, Devin. Big up to every single one of you. Over 80 of you guys here, 2 minutes in. Nice to see you all. And we're going to dive straight into it. And we're going to start on Hakim Ziyech news because where is he? Got so many tabs open, it makes it hard. There we go. So Fabrizio Romano came out himself yesterday and said that Hakim Ziyech's agents already had direct talks with AC Milan. Ziyech would be happy to join Milan. Been told Chelsea and Tuchel are open to letting him go if the right conditions are guaranteed. Ziyech's on AC Milan's list long time as well. Talks will continue soon. But there's also been talks over the last week of him being linked to Everton. He's been linked to the potential of Leeds if Chelsea could get Rafinha for him, which I didn't think would happen on a sort of a switch basis with them two. But, you know, he's being linked around the Premier League across Europe at the moment. I have said for a very long time, especially on this channel, that I feel that Hakim Ziyech is one of them players that when it comes to potentially leaving out of the forward line we have, I know a lot of people felt Timo Werner might be one of them. I just feel like Hakim Ziyech sort of struggles to fit in with that, to be honest. When you look at his style of play, when you look at his last 2 seasons, he suffered from injuries as well. I don't know. I feel that he doesn't really suit us. You know, I think he struggles with the league itself. I think he needs more time on the ball. I don't think he's as effective because he can't take players on. He can't dribble. If he is to leave, I think ideally Chelsea should try and look to negotiate a player for him. Now, it's not that they haven't. At the moment, it seems like there's just going to be open negotiations. Maybe Chelsea could potentially try and get Leao on a deal from AC Milan. Who knows? But Con, from your perspective, mate, obviously Hakim Ziyech has had a sort of a mixed Chelsea career in the 2 seasons that he's been here. does it really surprise you that he's sort of maybe one of the players in the Chelsea that's sort of up for sale, mate?
To be honest, no. Because he's on low wages. Chelsea wouldn't command that much of a transfer fee for him, so it makes sense. And I love Ziyech, man. Before he joined us, I was a massive fan of him, and I was like, I want this guy. I remember everybody was saying they wanted Sancho. I was like, no, I want Ziyech, because under
Yeah.
Lampard it made sense, but under Tuchel with this free back and these outside tens, it doesn't really make much sense, you know. I like to say about Ziyech, he's a victim of circumstance. I think he's a good player, but I just don't think he's a great fit.
Do you not feel that most of the forward line that we have are what you just said there? They kind of just suit a certain style. None of them are very versatile. Does that make sense? Like they're all very sort of, they only fit a certain way that we specifically play. Like we saw Ziyech last season, not specifically great in the 3, but as soon as you switch him into the 4, he was probably one of the best players. But it seems like some of the other forwards didn't benefit from that. That's the only thing that I have a bit of a problem with Ziyech on, because I just feel like in this Tuchel system, we need to have versatility, bro. Like we need people that have the movement, the versatility that can create, but also contribute to goals as well. I'm not too sure if he's, like I said, he's built for this Chelsea team. I don't feel, that sounds very weird, but I don't feel he's actually a Tuchel player. I know you're quite a big fan of him. I don't feel Tuchel looks at him and like, and you kind of noticed it because he played him so many times before, but as soon as he switched back to a 3, he couldn't get in the team. Yeah, he was coming off the bench for Pulisic or Werner or Mount, Havertz. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't surprise me that he's leaving. How would you, if you were the hierarchy, how would you negotiate Ziyech? Would you just sell him and try and get as maximum money as possible out of him, or would you use him to maybe negotiate a player of some kind? Because let's be serious, bro. We need quite a lot at the moment, don't we?
So, can you say that last bit again, please, Jim? My mic cut out.
No worries. So basically, what I was saying is, what would you do if you were the Chelsea hierarchy with Ziyech? Would you look to sell him and just try and take the full amount of price for him, or would you look to negotiate him for a player, so one coming and him going the other way? What would you do with him?
Depends on the player, to be honest. You know, if it is Milan, there's a certain winger, you know, who Todd Bowley recently met with his agent. You know, I think a lot of us would be interested in. But if it's someone like Milan or something, I can't really see anyone on their team who I'd particularly want besides Leao. So I'd be happy taking cash, just getting him off our books, getting a free slot open, you know.
Yeah, it is. We have we have so much to sort out, and pre-season's not this week, but the week after, and it's like I am expecting players to come in. It's just like the more and more we lose players, I feel like the more and more, even though we need to replace the players that go, we also forget that we still need to strengthen the depth. Like, you know, like we need to add to that as well. So it's right bringing in someone, getting rid of Ziyech and bringing someone in to replace him. But who else are we going to bring in on top of that? I don't know if we're going to be able to do that all in summer window. I think the priority will be to try and strengthen your best 11. And we may have to look at accommodating maybe some of the academy players that are coming back, or the low knees, for example, to cover certain areas. It's just, you know, I agree with you. I do think it. To be honest, I think they will just get rid of Ziyech. I don't think they will try and negotiate a player other than Leao. I don't think Leao will be going anywhere from AC Milan, especially the season that he's had there. They won't want to lose him. So I think with Ziyech, it's a case of where does he want to go and how much value can we get from him. You know, a bit like an opening bid bargain for people, like who's going to be the top bidder, who's going to bid the most money for him as well. But yeah, no surprise on him pretty much leaving Chelsea there. We're going to move on to the defence, because there's a lot going on with Chelsea in the defence area. We know obviously Rudiger and Christensen are leaving Chelsea, or have left Chelsea. But there's been a lot of talks in and around one certain individual more than the other. We're going to talk about the other in a bit as well. But Matthijs de Ligt is a player that's supposedly being linked to Chelsea. Chelsea has supposedly put an offer of 40 million euros forward, along with Pulisic or Werner as well. Apparently, they've turned it away, and they're asking for anything in the regions of around 100 million euros, which is about, if I'm right, it's about 90, just above 90 odd million sterling for him. Now, one of my biggest worries with him was the price tag. because, yeah, he's a great player, and I get that. Again, we need to remember Syria are taxed as well on the back of this. But what is our budget, and how much have we got to spend? And I keep talking about being smart. We have to have a smart window, and at the same time, I think we're really going to need to heavily negotiate this deal if it's going to happen. We did have a little bit of breaking on the Ligt as well, which I'm going to bring up here as well. Where is it? Is it this one? Hope it's that one. Yeah, Chelsea have. Yeah, that's it. Chelsea have kickstarted the bidding for Matthijs de Ligt with a player plus cash package worth around 40 million, plus a choice of either Timo Werner or Christian Pulisic. That was via the Mail Sport, and that was literally about 45 minutes ago that was bought out as well. Con, this putting Chelsea aside for a second, the player himself, Matthijs de Ligt, when you look at him, do you like him as a player? Do you think he has the abilities to walk into this Chelsea team and bring us up a next level? Because we're thinking about it, he's going to come in to replace probably Rudiger, who we know has had such a great season for Chelsea, now at Real Madrid. What's your thoughts on just him himself as the player? Do you think he's good enough for Chelsea?
I think De Ligt's brilliant, to be honest. Very two-footed. I always thought he was left-footed, but he's actually right-footed. That just shows you how good he is with his left. He can play anywhere across the back line. He can play on the left, right, the central centre-back. He can play in the 4, play in the 3. For 19, well, when he was 19, he was captain at Ajax. That just speaks volumes of his character. I think there was also a stat about the season. I think for any defender to play like over 200 minutes this season, he was dribbled past the least in Syria. And that Juve side stinks, bro. It's a horrible squad. They had a horrible last couple of seasons, and he's like one of the shining lights there. I think he's brilliant, bro.
Some Chelsea fans worry with him because of the league he's coming from. Some of them feel he was slow. Some even look at the games that we played against Juventus and say, hey, he ain't that good. He won't, and I think you said something very important there. He's playing a shit Juventus team. Let's be serious. It is a pretty doggy Juventus team. All right, we beat them 4-0 and he was in the team, whatever. But I see a player that has the ability, especially under Tuchel, to grow and become a leader. And one of the things that we lack at this football club is that leadership qualities. I think he brings that. At the same time, he still needs to have good and experienced players around him. And why you get Matthijs de Ligt and you have Thiago Silva there maybe for one more season, I think him playing under him would be great for de Ligt as well. But also then it's important to see who we bring next to him as well. Con, do you worry about Chelsea splashing nearly 90-odd million sterling on him, though? Do you think the price tag is a bit of a heavy price tag for, even though he's a top marquee player, don't get me wrong, everyone knows him. Do you not feel that 90 million is quite a lot when you think about how much Chelsea still need to do in the window?
Yeah, bro, it's way too much. As much as I like him, and if you could ask me for any centre-back in Europe I'd sign, he'd be in my top 3. I'm not paying that. That'd be stupid. I'm not a massive fan of signing someone like a Declan Rice for that kind of money. So there's no way I'm going to sign a De Ligt to centre-half. Considering there's so many options as well. That you got Kounde, you got Koulibaly. I think Koulibaly's got, is it a 40 mil release clause? Or not release clause, but yeah.
It's a 40 million euros, I think it is, isn't it? You might be right, yeah.
So, I know he's 30 and De Ligt's 22, I think. But there's just so many options in the market where you don't need to pay that kind of money for a good centre-back. So, for that kind of money, bro, it really turns me off.
It does. But then at the same time, it's like, who are we going to sign? Like, who else? Like, we're going to talk Kounde next in a minute, but you don't get him. Put it this way. I'll give you a funny example, right? You either buy him for 90 million or you buy Nathan Ake from Man City, and you get him for probably about 30 mil, probably. What do you do? I mean, there's not much options out there. They didn't want that guy from Leipzig who was 50-odd million. I think Koulibaly's a great option for us to look at potentially and bring across, but dealing with their sporting director it is an absolute nightmare, especially trying to get get any deals done with him. That might be a stalling point for Chelsea at this point. It's like, how many other options out there are there for top centre backs that can come in and replace Rudiger and potentially have a future at Chelsea? And the worry is, as we've seen in the past, we do like spending the big bucks, but every time we've spent the big bucks, we've been kind of let down. And that's always in the back of probably many Chelsea fans' minds as well. But for me personally, I'd like De Ligt at Chelsea. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a good player. The one thing that worries me is exactly what you said, is just the price tag. Like, if we could, like, this thing of, give us cash plus Pulisic or Werner. Like, what is in the market? How much are Werner and Pulisic rated? I don't know. 40 mil, 50 mil for them two? I don't know. We could easily do that. So we're going to need to pay at least 40 mil cash. If we can get like 40 mil cash and then give them a player, cool. But the issue you've got is, you say we give them Christian Pulisic and 40 mil, but then we've still got Hakim Ziyech that wants to go AC Milan. That then removes 2 forwards from the play. And we're going to talk about the forwards later. We're going to talk about the ones that are linked to us. But not only do you have to replace them, you also need to bring strength to that area as well. So it's cool getting rid of all these players and then spending this money, but you're getting rid of potentially Pulisic and Werner to bring in a defender, which I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it in a very weird way, but I find it like, yeah, it's important because we need the centre backs. I get it. But if Ziyech is one that is definitely leaving, and you just decide if Pulisic's going to go as well, you're just literally not strengthening, like, your forward line. Even though it's not the greatest, it's just getting more and more weaker. And I don't know, that worries me on the side of things as well. But we'll have to see what happens moving forward. Big up to everyone in the chat, though. 250 of you guys here, 17 minutes in. I hope you guys are all well in the chat. Make sure we're smashing the like buttons as well. I don't know much about Bremer. Con, do you know much about Bremer? I haven't seen much of this guy.
I'd be lying if I said I did, bro.
Yeah, you're like me. I hate talking about people that I don't know, so I will stay away from talking about a player that I'm not 100% sure on as well. No is the answer there. Yeah, I agree. Sorry, yeah, with the Ake thing, I don't want him. He's back up as well. De Ligt will be world class soon, is what Daniel's saying as well. Fabrizio's just pinned the Sterling news. Well, we're going to talk about Sterling very shortly as well. I actually like Ake. I wouldn't have let him go first time. Con, do you like Nathan Ake as an option for Chelsea?
Do I like the player? Sure. Do I like him as an option for Chelsea? No. We sold, like, it's hard because he's not a bad defender. And if you watched a bit of City near the end of the last season, you'd see he was actually putting in some really good performances. And his aerial ability for his size is ridiculous. But yeah, like, we're filling the void of Rudiger. Ake's not the guy, man. As good as he is, and I like him, I think he's solid, but he's just not the guy, man.
It's not like, people forget that we're actually replacing Rudiger here. Yeah, we let Rudiger go on a free and we're just bringing Nathan Ake. That makes us so much better, doesn't it? Like, there's got to be a little bit of comment. Like, don't get me wrong. If you was to say to me, he's coming in for cheap to just be backup, then fine. Like, fair enough. Like, I agree, because I do think we need backup in areas.
Yeah, we're not talking like 15 million here. We're talking probably like 40 mil. That's ridiculous, isn't
it? What, for him from Man City? To get him from Man City? Are they really? 40 mil?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Well, in that case, I think we'd probably stay away from it. Chelsea have opened talks with Matthijs de Ligt. The player has already communicated his desire to move to Chelsea, is what I've got one comment here saying on. I have seen that, guys, as well. I'll wait to see if we get any more legit comments on that as well. Gabriel Jesus, by the way, just on other sides of things, is in an Arsenal shirt, and it's a here we go. So Arsenal have signed Gabriel Jesus there as well. So yeah, I've just seen that, Matty. Interesting stuff. We are going to stick to the defence. We are going to be moving on later on to Sterling, Dembele. We're going to talk a little bit about Neymar. We're going to talk a little bit about Tuchel as well after some comments that we were listening to on Con's space. I think it's worth having that chat as well. But I do want to talk about a player that I think all you guys know I've wanted for a very long time, a very, very long time. Jules Kounde. At the moment, from what we're reading, it seems like Barcelona are likely to sign him from Seville. Tuchel and Todd Bowley's interest may shift to Matthijs de Ligt. I had it in my head that we would probably go for both. But why we may not go for both is is the tag. Because if Sevilla are holding out for 65 million euros, they're looking to close to over about 50 to, around 50 sterling, just above 50 sterling for him. 54 million sterling, I think it was. Along with Matthijs de Ligt at 90 mil, let's just say, which is supposedly what they want, you're nearly doing a good 140 million just on 2 defenders. Yeah, and that's without sorting out your forward line and maybe looking to. I mean, Klaus looks like he may happen for 10 mil. That's a smart signing. See, they're the little sort of signings I want to see. But when I saw this the first time round, I thought it was bullshit. I genuinely thought Jules Kounde is going to be a Chelsea player. And it is annoying me. I ain't going to lie. If there's one thing one little bit of news that's annoying me at the moment, it's this, because you've got this player that has wanted Chelsea, not only for this season, but wanted to be a Chelsea player last season. It didn't happen last season because Sevilla asked for his full release clause. Chelsea didn't want to pay for it. We get into this season. All right, we had the sanctions and whatever else. That all blew over. And the only thing that's stopping Chelsea from Kounde coming to Chelsea is just gathering the agreement with Seville. You've heard people already tell us, Ben Jacobs has already said, Kounde has got a 5-year deal in principle with Chelsea, agreed. The personal terms are there. They're ready. The issue is Monchi and Chelsea. Because they want Chelsea to pay the full 65 million, which is around, I think they want 60 mil sterling is what I'm hearing now. And Chelsea have only given them just over 50. Chelsea haven't gone back to give them a new proposal. So we haven't came back and given them what they want. And it seems like it's come to a bit of a stalemate. And it is frustrating for me because for the sake of a couple of 10 mil more, 8 mil more, whatever it is, you've got a player that wants to play for Chelsea, potentially now going to be robbed from another team who by the looks of it, are going to pay half of that, but then give them a player, which is more appealing to them now. This Kounde news for you, mate. How do you feel about the whole thing? Like, are you a big fan of him? Like, do you think he would be good for Chelsea? And not just that, like, do you kind of get a little bit stressed with how this has gone with him? Because he's wanting to be a Chelsea player for the last 2 seasons now.
Yeah, it's been one that's dragged on, hasn't it? It's a bit weird because you'd think he wants to come to Chelsea. Chelsea wanted him, and you'd think somehow you'd be able to find an agreement, but clearly not. And I don't think he's going to come now, to be honest. I think Tuchel prefers de Ligt. And from what we saw, apparently Kounde was a board sort of signing. I just feel bad for the guy, I feel sorry for Kounde because I think he had his heart set on coming to Chelsea. And as a fan, I definitely wanted him here. Could be one we regret because he's still really young. I think he's going to become one of the best centre-backs in world football in a couple of years' time. So, missed opportunity.
Yeah, but how many times are we going to keep saying this missed opportunity? Like, what? You're going to spend 90-odd million on de Ligt. Fine, you may rate him a bit more, but it's not like you're miles out from getting this done. You could have 2 top players, top centre-backs in your team. Kounde, de Ligt, Thiago Silva. That could be the pinnacle of your back three. Yeah. One has the leadership qualities and allows you to go into a back 4. The other is versatile. He's able to play in the 3. He can play as a right back. He's very good going forward with the ball. This thing of him being small is a myth. He is 5'10". He's the same height as Reece James. Yeah. But his aerial duels won in La Liga in the last 2 seasons have always been 3/4 won. He's got a very good spring and he brings a lot of ability to this team. And it's the versatility element and being good with the ball, because he's very good with the ball at his feet. Very, very good with the ball at his feet. And it has annoyed me and I do feel stressed about it. And don't get me wrong, if things can, swing around, things can swing around. It could be this week that we hear that Jules Kounde's on his way to Chelsea. Here we go. Chelsea have agreed, blah, 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 blah. But the latter's telling us now, and you're starting to see more tier 1 slowly coming out of it, that the fact that it looks like he could potentially be going to Barcelona on the basis that Chelsea are going to prioritise de Ligt over him. I don't think that should be our mindset. It should be both, but it's how do you negotiate the both? Because if you can get de Ligt for 40 million cash plus a player, fine. I get it, providing we know that we're going to fill that area. Talking about the forward line, you go and get Kounde for 55 mil, whatever it is that they want. Then you've spent, you really think about it, we've spent about, 90 mil, 95 mil on 2 defenders. And I'm talking about top quality defenders, an area that we need is salt. So that's why we've got a lot of work to do. We've definitely got a lot of work to do. And especially not even just in the centre-back area, the forward line, which we're going to get to next as well. When we're going to get someone, Jem. I mean, staying on that question that Kev Yo sent over there. How are you feeling as a Chelsea fan at the moment in terms of how Chelsea are, say, not the lack of Chelsea doing business at the moment? Like, are you worried, or do you just feel that we need to be patient as a fan base and things will come through the door?
I do get a bit frustrated, I can't lie. I do. But when I saw how quickly we got Lukaku out the door, that really gave me good hope that this window is going to be good. Because normally Chelsea don't do something that quick with a problem player like him, So that gave me a lot of confidence. And then obviously the Marina and Buck came out of nowhere. Like, we didn't know anything about that. We didn't have a sniff. So we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Maybe it's a bit of blind optimism from me. But like I said many times before, bro, if this right now is not a time to be optimistic as a Chelsea fan and positive, I don't know when is.
100%. I think we have to be optimistic, and at the same time, we have to be patient. And if it means that we start signing players for our pre-season, which is not ideal because you want to have a pre-season with your players, I get that, then so be it. But we're going to have to wait and see. We can only evaluate this window until, at the end of it. There's no point of us sitting here moaning every morning. I wake up and look onto, we haven't signed another player. Oh my God, what are we doing? We've only got this. We've got to wait. We've got no choice. Some people forget that these owners have been owners of Chelsea for, I think, 3 weeks now. So, and so far within this period, we've got rid of Marina, we've dropped Bruce back off, and Lukaku's gone. One of the biggest issues at our club has gone. So it's not the fact that we haven't done things. He has done things. It's just what is, who's going to come through the door? What type of profile players are Chelsea Football Club going to look at? And it seems like Thomas Tuchel is going to get a lot of backing from it as well. And we're going to talk a bit about Thomas Tuchel in depth a little bit more later on. Texas Blue, big up to you, bro. Nice to see you in the house as well. Deals as well. Sportswise asked you a question, Con. He says, Con, how much of this delay do you attribute to Chelsea's bold reorganisation?
Not too much, to be honest. I feel like it's more just trying to play a bit of catch up, because obviously I think Arsenal, City, like you see with City with Haaland, didn't it? They had that agreed before even the transfer window opened, and I think clubs already have in mind the targets they got. We didn't have that luxury because, we were sanctioned. Thanks a lot, the UK government, for that. We always love you for that. So I just think we're just playing a bit of catch up. I think people really don't appreciate how much, a sanction against a football club can do to a football club, Because I saw one comment and I was like, it's so naive to say that. And I think it was Pies, actually. Shout out Pies, I love him. But when he said, it's like, but why we're sanctioned, we can still tap up players. And I'm thinking, brother, like, when you're in a sanction, that's going to be the last of your worries about who you're going to be bringing in for the summer. Like, we didn't even know if Chelsea Football Club was going to go into administration at one point, We didn't even know how we could get to games, because we only got a certain amount of budget to get to a European game. And you had Thomas Tuchel saying, I'll drive a coach. Do you know what I mean? So it's crazy. So I think we're just playing a bit of catch up. But I trust in Tuchel. I trust in Todd Boehly, man. Todd Boehly seems like he's come with intent. And like I said earlier, it might be blind optimism, bro, but I'd rather be optimistic about a new changed Chelsea than pessimistic for no reason,
Do you feel that Todd Boehly's took on especially with recent times, because now he's become the main negotiator? Do you feel like he's maybe took a little bit on too much, like he's took too much on his plate by taking that role? Do you feel that maybe he could have utilised Marina for this window and then maybe just gone from there? Like, could the issue be that if we don't have a great summer window, it's because Todd Boehly was a negotiator, is what I'm trying to say?
Well, I think Marina's still around until the end of the window, isn't she? Like, I don't think her role's like the negotiator anymore, but she's still around. She's not officially leaving until after the window's done. So I think he'll have the contacts not from her. And I think he's an intelligent man. Like, this guy is a billionaire, you know. He's got investments all over the place. Like, who am I to say, oh, he's taking on too much, you know? He's clearly in this position of wealth because he's a very smart man. And I get he would make smart decisions, you know? So he's probably surrounded himself with people who know what they're doing. I don't think he's naive. I don't think he would have put himself in a position, you know, because I think Clark, was it the people financing it? Clark Willed Summit Capital or something like that.
Yeah, Clear Lake Capital, yeah.
Like, he knows at the end of the day, it's like their money on his back, you know. He's a businessman first and foremost. So he's not going to throw himself in a position where he can hurt the business, you know, potentially, if he doesn't feel comfortable enough to do it. So I trust him.
I agree with you. I think we have to. We've got no choice. These guys are going nowhere. 10 years they've agreed to run this football club, not even able to share, to sell some shares. So you can't even, if you're a billionaire, buy shares in Chelsea the next 10 years. Abramovich has put some strict guarantees against this football club. And these guys are going to have a lot to, you know, these guys have got a lot to do. You know, there's a stadium to also think about at a later stage as well, which they've promised us. That's why Finkelstein's involved in it as well. And Con's right. Clear Lake Capital, they've done business with Bowley and Mark Waters, who are both the owners of LA Dodgers. And to put, which is 50% of Clear Lake Capital down, it might be a little bit more than that, you know, and pretty much, in my eyes, be more like the funders, which I think they will be mainly. And for the main owner of that company to trust them to do that specifically, that goes a far way to show you that they trust this guy, even if he's new to it, you know, to the football world in terms of like the negotiating side of things. All right, he's done it at the Dodgers and he has a great track record, you know. But the fact that they've got the confidence in him tells me that there's got to be a plan in place. It's just we have to see that plan. They have to get their vision across to us as the fans. Once we get that vision and we understand where they're going with it, then it makes it a lot easier, and then that uncertainty goes for us as fans. But at the moment, there is a lot of uncertainty, and that's why you see so many people on Twitter, Chelsea fans, who get very emotional about it. Oh, what are they doing? We've not bought no one. Another day without signing someone. Bowley out. Like, you know, relax. Literally, go and just relax. Get off Twitter for a bit. Go and, like, do you know what I mean? Like, relax. You know what I mean? We've got to give them time. Short term's important, but the long term picture is even more important, because I think they will back him. I do. But for me, it's how long do they back him, and what their plan of backing is to him in the long term. Like, will they keep us successful? Will they keep us, you know, up there? Will Thomas Tuchel still be the main man 2-3 years down the line? There's a lot of things that consortium has to show us as the fans. Over 315 people here. Thank you, everyone. Half an hour in. Big up to every single one of you. Just get this over 100 likes as well. I think we've only got 97 likes already. Perfect. We're only 3 away. So if you haven't hit that like, please do so. We're also only about 70 new subscribers away. We could make it to 6K subscribers today on YouTube, which is huge for this channel. So if we could do that, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you check Con out if you haven't already. He said his name, Con CFC on Twitter. Pretty sure you guys have seen him over there already. But go and make sure you follow him as well. And listen into his spaces, because his spaces are fun, man. Like, just listening to some of the crazy things, some of the crazy things that you hear within this Chelsea fan base. But not all crazy, a lot of knowledgeable stuff as well. So Twitter has become unbearable, is what Clutch is saying as well. I mean, that's probably right, isn't it, Con? Do you feel Twitter's become a bit unbearable at the moment, especially from the Chelsea fan base area?
Yeah, it's starting to, because I feel like because people haven't got that new thing to talk about because we haven't made a signing yet, people are just talking for talking's sake. And like you said, instead of like going out and like just taking a little bit of break off Twitter, because there's nothing really to talk about that much.
No.
They're just the arguments and debates people are having is just so silly. It's so silly. Like earlier on a space, bro, I was debating with a Chelsea fan about the United game that we drew. Yeah. Like, why am I talking about that now? Like, what's going on? We're just talking here. It's crazy.
Listen, I've got to the point now, bro, where I think Chelsea fans actually have to have something to moan about, because it's just not normal not to. You know, like, if there's nothing to talk about or moan about, it's not normal for them. So they have to find something. So like you said, talking about the Man United game, I mean, months ago, is a way for them to just, let out some moaning against their football. Go, all right, it should be love, and maybe it is full love. Don't get me wrong, but I do feel that we like to moan about nothing a lot of the times. But let's move on anyway, because Chelsea are working very hard on Raheem Sterling, who we're going to be talking about in a minute, but also Dembele. Now, hindsight, let's say Ziyech leaves Chelsea and go to AC Milan, and then we get an agreement with Juventus for either Werner or Pulisic, either or, which I think we could potentially do. They may just want a bit more money than the 40 mil that we're offering them. When you see these two faces, how confident are you as a Chelsea fan? Like, if you see these two faces in a Chelsea kit next season, how confident are you as a Chelsea fan looking forward into next season?
I'm a happy Chelsea fan if I see them two faces, bro. Finally, we're going to have some wingers with some 1v1 ability, some creativity. Sterling's an absolutely amazing poacher. And then if you play him on that right side, he can be that great touchline winger as well. Like, they're both so complete, Dembele's so two-footed. Sterling, like, the thing with Sterling, which I don't get, is people always focus just on his misses. Like, that's all he brings to the table is goals. Like, he brings so much to the table that people don't realise yet. On the left, he might be more of that poacher, but he cuts in and he can shoot edge of the box. We don't really have players who do that for Chelsea. He's good in tight areas. Jem, can you name me up Chelsea players good in tight areas right now?
Well, it should have been Christian Pulisic, really, wouldn't it? But he doesn't do it, does he? He doesn't do it. He doesn't. Yeah.
So like these two bring so much here to the table, bro. So much. And one thing I love about Sterling that don't really get spoken about, he's so durable. Like, when do you ever see Sterling injured? Like, a failability is an ability in itself,
That's a good question. I need to have a look at that. Raheem Sterling, because they talk about Dembele for me though, from your standpoint. How do you feel about him?
Dembele, it's definitely a risk. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be naive and just say because he's really, really talented, like, it's a great deal. Like, there's massive risk that he has to be one of the club's highest earners. And for a guy with his history record and, attitude problems, the fortnight, this guy likes his fortnight. It's definitely a risk, but on the free for a guy who's that talented, we're talking about one of the most talented players in world football here. That's how I view him anyway. It's like, just take the risk, It's like, you don't get these opportunities all the time, and it's a profile we need. It's not like, with a Kai Havertz. Don't get me wrong, I love Kai, but he wasn't really the profile player we needed at the time. Dembele is that profile player that we need, and he's available and he's free. So
he's available, he's free, but there is an issue, and that issue being obviously that he seems supposedly via A Sport, who have come out and said that they feel that he feels underwhelmed by the offer that he has received from Chelsea. That was obviously put out today, as the wages offered are considerably less than what he expected. Now, from what we understand, it looks like Barcelona are not willing to give him any. I don't know if they've even given him a contract. I don't know. Like, he's waiting for them to offer something, and they're not offering it, is what I fully understand at the moment. So after June the 30th, this guy is a free player. Like, he could actually retire. He generally, if he didn't like what Chelsea were offering him and Barcelona didn't give him what he wants, he could literally just be like, all right, okay, see you later. Unless he decides to go to some, I don't know, American team that pays an absolutely extortionate wage. But I'm not, like, I still feel there is a little bit of hope with him. I mean, last week it made it look like it wasn't going to happen because Xavi loved him. He loved Barcelona. The idea of him staying at Barcelona still looks like it's on the cards. But I'm in agreement with Con. Like, there is the way I look at it is that it's not a high risk signing. It is a small risk signing. But if you bring him in, you need to have squad depth or squad rotation around him. Now, apparently he's already asked the question to Tuchel. I'm sure he's had conversations with him already. Supposedly, about being a key figure, main figure. Is he going to be played? Is he going to have involvement more? And, having that certainty that he's going to, have the game time is something that he wanted to know. But when I look at the low risk side of it, like Con said, the ability, this guy can play with 2 feet. His creativity, his directiveness, his speed. People don't talk about this guy's speed. This guy is rapid. This guy is next level quick. And if we can get it done, I think we should. I think we should definitely get it done. It's someone that we should be looking at as a player. But at the same time, if he's moaning about wages, I mean, like this Dembele to Chelsea thing's just, it seems like Chelsea have done their bit to a degree in terms of giving him something. Barcelona, who he's waiting for to give him something, aren't giving him something. Like, what's he gonna do? He's got to make a decision, right? Like, what's he gonna do?
To be fair, I've got kind of a theory with Chelsea though. I feel like Chelsea don't really want to show their hand, because if they give him what ideally they want to give him, Barcelona can just go and match it, you know. So I think Chelsea are more waiting on to see what Barcelona do and then react to that, than like us putting our best foot forward.
What do you think we're gonna just like completely wait till it's dead in the water? So, i.e., June the 30th, where he then becomes like a player not of Barca's, and then you might just see Chelsea drop like a not anything on the transfer side, but on the wage side, whatever it is that he may want to a degree in terms of wages. You think that may happen?
Yeah, I feel like the club are just going to wait and see what Barcelona do. If Barcelona don't up their offer, I think Chelsea will put in a reasonable one. And if Barcelona do give him like a decent offer, I think Chelsea will probably match it. I think they're just waiting to see what's going on with Barcelona and Dembele before they make like their proper move, because I don't think they've actually really gave him a formal offer yet. I know there's been talks, but I don't think there's been an actual formal one yet.
Not a formal one. They've had talks with him directly, like, i.e., this is what we're thinking of doing, or this is what we're thinking of giving you. We were told that he was on holiday and he was still making his mind up. So maybe that may have been what's holding it up to this point, or a part of it, should we say, of why it's not moved forward. But if Barcelona are not going, it's a bit like the Rudiger scenario. If you've got a team that you're at that's not coming back to you, and you've got a timeline, you got a strict sort of timeline to when you want to know. Like, eventually, eventually you're going to end up having to make a decision on the spot, and that's like what Con said. Maybe Chelsea will do that. Maybe you will see Chelsea show their hands and it happen. I am stuck in between with this. I mean, out of a percentage out of 100, Con, how confident are you of getting Dembele? Do you think it's a 60-40, 50-50? Like, how do you feel with it?
30-70. I'm not
What,
very
30?
confident.
Oh, okay, 30.
Yeah.
Wow, so you're not confident whatsoever. And you don't get him, surely we're getting someone else, right? Because if it isn't him, I don't think Sterling's enough, by the way. Especially if we're letting Ziyech and that go, because that tells me we're still going to buy someone there. But if it isn't him, who would be your next in line?
Yeah, I agree with you with that. I don't think Sterling's enough. Rafinha or Richarlison. Rafinha I'd like, Richarlison I wouldn't, but they're the two I think Chelsea will go for.
So you're like me. I like Rafinha. I actually was one of the players, if you asked me before the summer window opened, I'd be like, oh, I wouldn't mind Rafinha. I think he's a good player. Like, I actually generally do like him. I think he's a top player. Richarlison is what you said. Exactly what you said on Lorenz's channel when you said that when you go on Wish and you order Diego Costa, you get Richarlison. That that is literally how I feel when I look at him. Like, he's like, there is talent there. I'm just not sure if he's Chelsea talent. I'm not sure if he's that level, if that makes sense. Maybe because he's been playing at Everton. I don't know. He was at Watford before and now he's at Everton. I'm not too sure. But with Rafinha, I just kind of, I don't know. I just feel like we'd benefit more from Rafinha and Richarlison. But I don't know. We'll see in it. Ideally, I want Dembele. If you get Dembele, then I want Sterling. I want them two as my like forwards, inside forwards with their pace and their speed and their creativeness. Like, that would be deadly. That would generally be a good lineup. Arjan with the donation says signings must be made this week or we'll lose it, is what he's saying. Well, this is the last week before pre-season, so they will be meeting up for for pre-season at the end of this week. Big up to Dylan in the house as well. Yeah, over 300 people watching. We should be over 100 likes now, actually. We've got 103 likes. Let's get this up to 150 likes, guys. Come on, big up to you, bro. Big up to DJ Sabjay as well. Rafinha's going to Arsenal, and this is right as well. We see, like, Rafinha is overpriced, but then so is Richarlison. So is others. You know, it seems like everyone's overpriced these days. Everyone seems to want mega money for players that we're not sure on, you know? So, and these are players that haven't even played Champions League football as well. So there's a lot still going to happen, and I think will happen at Chelsea. That won't happen. I am pretty sure we will not see a Mount false nine moving forward. Maybe a Sterling if we get him, but not a Mount false nine. Big up to Daddy Tuchel as well. Let's move away from this one. I've just seen saying Barcelona will not budge in their negotiations for Dembele. He can either accept their current offer or leave the club. So that kind of answers his question. Like, he shouldn't have to wait anymore. He needs to make a decision. Like, do I stay, this week? I think we should find out saying the next couple of days with Dembele, personally, because he's out of contract on the 30th anyway. So the fact that they're not willing to budge, but then Chelsea have also given him this whatever they've given him, and he's a bit underwhelmed with the wage. Maybe he will just stay at Barcelona for whatever that is that they've given him as a cut, because Chelsea's deal ain't any better. But then if it isn't that any better than what Barcelona have done now, then that's where it's down to Chelsea to beat that offer, because you do that, you got him. They ain't doing any more than what they've given him. So I think Chelsea need to make a decision, either commit to Dembele or you don't, or you just don't do it. Rob Draper also put a little comment out as well, saying Topoli has placed himself at the centre of Chelsea's summer transfer window. 6 new players wanted. Sterling plus Dembele are still top of the list. Good chance of getting both. De Ligt 2. Kounde is now going to Barca. Bowley said to be living in his plane as he jets around Europe, getting his head around the wild west of a summer transfer window. Hence, meeting with Jorge Mendes. Told he's meeting all key players in the market. Also met with Academy Director Neil Bath in Portugal. He's going to be hands-on. This is now a Bowley Tuchel operation, apparently, as well. Just your quick thoughts, Con, on the links to Cristiano Ronaldo. Potentially, we've had talks with Jorge Mendes about Ronaldo. Is it possible? And would you take him, I guess?
I feel like I might get slaughtered for saying this, but I wouldn't take him. Because I remember last summer we were saying we just need a guy to like score goals. We knew he didn't press well, and we saw how it ended. I think to have someone like Ronaldo, you need a lot of creativity in your team, and I think that's one thing we kind of lack at times. I can't go another season with seeing our number 9 not press, man. It's important to how we play, and for me, systems more. Well, it takes importance over individuals, So buy players who fit the system, and I don't think Ronaldo's one of them.
I think you smashed it. I think you're right, and you're bang on. I'm another one of them. Dylan's with you as well. We've got a poll out at the moment, guys. Over 340 of you here. Ronaldo to Chelsea, yes or no? If you haven't voted, get voted now. I want to get a rough idea of the thoughts of most of you viewers. There's probably Chelsea fans that are in here as well. So let us know on there, and we'll bring that up in a bit as well. You're bang on. We always feel that if we just get a goal scorer, it solves our problem. But what people keep forgetting, and I don't want us to make the same mistake as we did with the Lukaku scenario, is that you're going to buy a player that will not specifically suit the system. Ronaldo is a top finisher. And don't get me wrong, he may even score a couple more goals than Lukaku. I hear this. But he does not suit our style of football. We need movement. We need energy. Link-up play. He's going to have to work his arse off. He doesn't want that. He just wants to be in the right position at the right time. And that's great to have when you've got him, because you put the ball in the box, he's going to score. Fine. I just feel that if you'd watched Man United last season, even themselves are moaning about him to a part degree, saying, yeah, even though he scores all these goals, it doesn't work hard enough for the team. The team suffers when he's on the pitch. And we had that problem with Romelu Lukaku. We have to be more clever. Have to be more clever with the players that we bring in, and not just buy them for their name. It's him. Ronaldo's a top player, but guys, this whole thing that bringing him in would solve our problems is by far, I agree with Con, not the right way to go forward. I'd rather Tuchel build around players that may be younger, nowhere near the level of Ronaldo and what he's done, but give him the time to work with them. We're not going to be challenging for titles. We just aren't. We're not going to be doing that. And we're going to talk a bit about Thomas Tuchel in a second as well. But we are going to go on to Raheem Sterling, because Raheem Sterling is the talk of the show today. Make sure we're smashing them likes, guys, as well. Fabrizio Romano says Chelsea would submit a new proposal for Raheem Sterling as they are already working on it. Tuchel wants him and personal terms have already been discussed. Negotiations with City were led by Marina Grabaskar. She left the club. Bowley is preparing a new bid, is what he's come out with as well. So it seems very like it's going to happen. I saw your little comment here, Con. I'm confused. Was the 25 million bid for an official bid then or not? Got a point, because that don't make sense to that, does it? For what he said there to obviously what you're saying, to be fair.
Yeah, I was confused because I saw a lot of like Chelsea journalists and some credible ones saying that we haven't like put an offer through yet. But then I remember Fabrizio tweeting that we offered 25 million and it got rejected. So I was just a bit confused. It's like, okay, and we're going to make a first proposal, but I thought we already did that. So I was just like, okay, doesn't make much sense, but here we go.
It is what it is, but you're right. It doesn't make no sense. And I think a lot of the time, especially on social media, like when I saw that, I just knew straight away that can't be true. There's no way in hell we would do that. Genuinely, like it would. Why would you get offer that? Just they're going to say no, unless you're doing it very low because you know that they want very high, and then you want to play this negotiation game where you want to meet them in the middle. But like it didn't make any sense to me as well. It honestly did not make any sense once I heard it. But when we look at the profile of Raheem Sterling, Con, obviously we spoke a little bit about him just now, earlier. How do you get the best out of him in this Chelsea team? So you look at what we've got at the moment, because in theory, all right, we're still going to buy players in and they have to be the right profile players that maybe complement him as well. But Raheem Sterling as the player of what you've seen at Man City, how do we get him to work in this Chelsea system?
One way is playing him as like touchline winger on the right and having Reece James inverted on that right hand side. I think that would cook. Second, either get a Dembele or Rafinha for the right hand side and have Sterling on the left as that poacher. And obviously you'll have a Rafinha, Dembele and a Reece James feeding. So he'll get a lot of service there. I think they're the two ways he succeeds at Chelsea. I don't really want to see him at false nine, to be honest.
I agree. I don't think he's built for a false nine. He can do it, but he doesn't do it to any great level, which is another worry for me as well. I don't look at him as being like the way forward with the 9 issue. I do feel that we are going to move to the inside forward mode. Looking at this type of profile player already is telling me up here, trying to guess what Todd Bowley and Tuchel are trying to do moving forward, that maybe they're looking for forwards that are maybe proven, and he is proven. Let's not twist it. But are versatile, that can do a number of things. And listen, I'm not his biggest fan. I'll be honest with you. I don't look at him and I'm not like, oh my God, like I can't believe it. We're getting Raheem Sterling. I'm so excited. Like, I get it. I do. I think it makes a lot of sense getting these Premier League proven players in. A guy that's won a number of things, number of trophies. This is the third highest in the Premier League, the first highest goal scorer in the Premier League history as an inside forward, other than him and Mo Salah and one other. He's got some ridiculous output numbers. These numbers are serious, but you need to have the right players around him. And, Dembele, if we manage to get Dembele and him, I'm telling you, that can work. That can work very well. But then people will go, but we haven't got a finisher. But he will score you goals. Dembele will create and score goals to a degree. It's just then, do you stick to trusting Kai Havertz for a season? Or do you then look for more of that agile striker? And I know we're only going to ring some names out, but people want the likes of Felix. People want the likes of, like just not your typical number 9s, Lautaro Martinez type of players, like that Bobby Firmino type of player. Con, you get Sterling, you get Dembele, and that's all good. When you look at the forward line, do you give Havertz another year with them, or would you look to maybe add someone there? What would you do?
What I would do, bro, is we paid 74 million for Kai Havertz. First season he came in, he was playing all over the place. He was playing DM, he was playing right back, he was everywhere, Second season, it was disrupted with Lukaku. This season, make him the main man. Show us why we paid that much money for you. it's time for you now, Kai, to step up. I want the pressure to be on him. I want him to be that main focal point for this team. And if he can do it, how I think he can, all good. If not, we're going to have to start talking about Kai Havertz.
Do you know what it is? I don't have no player agendas. I don't. But I do like Kai Havertz. I do think there's such a good player there. I really do. I think that he needs to have the right chemistry of players around him, though. At the moment, we don't have that. And I know he's inconsistent. He needs to improve on that. Beginning of seasons, he disappears. He seems to wake up at the end of seasons. But having a creativeness spark in Dembele and the pace of Sterling with him up front, I feel it could work. But then the issue you have is Mason Mount. Because then people go, well, where's Mason Mount going to play if we're playing the 3? The only other option you've got in that point then is to switch it to a 4. What do you think Thomas Tuchel's ideas are going to be? I mean, we don't know until we see who he brings in, and that will give us an idea to work out moving forward. But if he brings in Dembele and Sterling, Con, do you think that tells us that he's going to utilise or move into a 4? Because how do you fit Mount in that team with them two? Don't make sense, is it?
If we look at Dembele and look at his injury record, I think it's safe to assume that he's not going to be playing all 50-plus games in the season. So I just think I don't think it means we're going to a back 4, but I just think it makes it more of an option. I don't think Tuchel's the type of manager, unless his hands are tied, he will stick to one particular system. So I think we can see a lot more of a back 4 for sure. Because where does Mount fit in? Tuchel loves Mount as well. So
that's the thing.
Maybe back in midfield where he belongs. Does
it worry you that we're so fixed on forward and defence, but we're not sorting out the midfield? Does that worry you going into next season?
No.
Why?
Because it's expectations, I guess. I feel next season's just the top 4 thing, And I feel like if we get 2 new attackers, 2 centre halves, and a backup wing back, I feel we get top 4 again. So I'm not too worried about it. I think we can live with Kante and Jorginho for another season. Because I think Tuchel sees one guy and one guy only for that DM position. And I think you know who that guy is.
Nando's rice.
Yeah, bro.
We're talking about Turkish rice. What we're talking about? What rice we're talking about? No, you're right. It's maybe that heats up later. I don't know. Look, there was talks from Matt Law saying that to keep an eye out on the Declan Rice thing. I don't see him going anywhere. And the way West Ham are moving at the moment, the players that they've brought in, I don't see Declan Rice moving. The midfield is an issue, though, for me. I don't think we're progressively good enough with what we currently have there. And if we are going to get the best out of these players, I'm talking about Sterling's, the Dembele's, you're going to have to be more direct because they are direct. They will run behind. They will want it quickly. They will want it in the space quickly. And Kante, we know, can make that pass, but it's never always great with it. He can, overplay the pass or whatever. Kovacic is the one who I feel would have to do that more. And Jorginho, I don't want to say anything bad about Jorginho because I know how much of a big fan you are of him. But the thing with Jorginho is that I don't have no issues with him. I just feel he lacks consistency in his game, and I just don't think he's the player that can play 38 games a season and allow us to, to fight against Man City, Liverpool for a title. I still think that we need better in his position, but I would have him as backup all day. I do feel that we could have, like a Rice or someone and have him there, but I just don't feel that we will keep all of them, and the issue for me is we need someone that can be a bit more progressive. I won't ask you your thoughts on Jorginho because I already know your thoughts on Jorginho. But if he did leave, this is find out from you. If he did leave and went to Juventus, would you be a little bit upset deep down, or?
I'd be fuming. And it's not just because I like Jorginho. It's just this season we learned that having one DM at the club is not a good thing, And if we sold Jorginho, we'd have to buy DM. And I want a top quality one. I don't want some bit part player. I don't want one of these. Is his name Sagare? That's how you pronounce it. I don't want one of these guys.
Angara.
If we're gonna get rid of Jorginho, bring in someone who's considerably better. Otherwise, what was the point? So, and then do you trust Ampadu and Billy? I don't think Billy's going to be here for next season anyway. But do you trust Ampadu to be that backup for him? I don't know. So I'd be annoyed because I'd want to, like you said, like even for people who don't really rate Jorginho, at least he's durable. He doesn't get injured that much. He's more or less always available. So we see at times how the 1DMs killed us this season. I don't want that again for this season as well.
100%. 100%. Also, having that midfielder like a Russ maybe allow us to utilise and move into that back four. We won't have to continuously play that free that we're playing at the moment to accommodate the midfield for certain players and whatever else, because it brings the best out of them. We need more versatility is what I'm saying. We need to see more versatility. Big up to Couch Critic, bro. Nice to see you in the house as well. But staying on Raheem Sterling very quickly, we're going to quickly cut off on that. But Con was talking about his, which was quite a good point actually, his injury history. And as I've showed you guys Dembele's in the past, which was about 3 pages long, Raheem Sterling's was this long since 2013. He's only missed 10, 15, 21. He's missed since 2012-13. He's missed 25 games. So that's 10 years. He's only missed
crazy, isn't it? That's durable, bro. Yeah. It's one of the reasons I really like him, because he's so durable.
Oh, wow. I did not know he only missed 25 games. That has shocked me. I thought he had more injuries than that. So obviously he was just being benched more than anything if he didn't play. Let me know. So when you look at his injuries, knocks, calf strains, hamstrings, hamstrings were only 3 to 6 days. Back trouble was nothing. Groin. I mean, and this is a player that's played in the Premier League his whole life, pretty much. Since Liverpool days. That is very impressive and important when you're playing 50 games a season. And Chelsea will be doing that again. Having that type of player that can play in and out, play the hard games away in the Premier League, understand what's required, be the difference. He can do this. But he needs to have players around him that he can work with. And there's no point in throwing him in with the current crop we've got at the moment, because we just have the same issue. We'll all be sitting on Con's space moaning, why did we buy him? He's shit. No, it's just the chemistry. It's the people around him. You can't bring a player in and not, and it not work between the three of them. And that's the issue. There needs to be some sort of continuity, consistency from them, but also like some chemistry between them as well. So there we go, guys. A little bit of there. We did have a poll up earlier, which was on the Ronaldo yes or no. 61% said no, 39% have said yes. So the majority, say 3/4 of people were saying that they would like Ronaldo not to come to Chelsea, which makes sense, guys. Good to see. And this goes, just quickly before we move away from Sterling, this goes to show as well from Chelsea Dodgers as well, what he put out. Raheem Sterling's stats for Man City over the last 5 seasons. I mean, when you look at that since 2017-18, he's had 30 plus goal assists. And I know it's Man City and it's Pep and they've got great players and they create a lot. But that is an impressive number, something that we actually need, don't we?
Yeah, bro, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if any other winger had that output, you wouldn't complain. So I don't understand why people complain when it's Raheem Sterling. And people say because he plays for Pep's system and all that, but that's a good thing. He's played under the best coach in world football, in one of the best teams in world football. Like, he went to their Raw for 50 million. We might get him for even less than that. And he's been like nurtured into the players today. I think that's only a plus that he's played for City.
Your facts, spot on. It is a plus. He's versatile. I keep saying it. He's versatile. He has a lot to his game. And I do feel that it's a smart signing. If you get him for the right money, though, money talks again in this scenario. Because if it's 60 mil, 65 mil, I'd probably say no. But when you look at his outputs, he's probably worth that. When you look at what he's doing in the Premier League, it's just that 27 years old, 60 mil is not a bad price for Raheem Sterling. I just feel we could maybe get him a little bit less based on his contract, because only having 1 year of his contract left, Man City ain't really got much holding power here, bargain power here. Chelsea could do a decent or a better negotiation with Man City on this player, then get it done. And it looks like Thomas Tuchel's keen on him. And that's the most important thing people need to understand. And we're going to talk about Thomas Tuchel in a second as well, guys. But let's get this over 200 likes, guys. Let's do this. We've got 155 likes. 312 of you still here. Big up to every single one of 300 of you that are here. We're only really going to quickly talk on this one because actually, I don't blame Con for it, but I see Con talk about it and it sort of triggered my mind because I've seen it in groups that I'm in. I've seen it everywhere that I'm going on. People seem to want this to happen. Neymar is considering a move away from PSG. Chelsea have the finances to deal with it. Man United would have to sell Ronaldo and the other club would be Newcastle. Well, Chelsea got Champions League. Chelsea can afford him, supposedly. Man United ain't going to get rid of Ronaldo. And Newcastle ain't going to be able to sway him there because even though they've got money, they ain't getting, they're just not doing that. Like, no, it's not happening. So, may I ask you this, Con? As I'm assuming from what I've seen, you're a Neymar fan. Why do you want him for Chelsea?
It's just a dream, bro. It's the little boy in me. Like, my head knows it doesn't really make much sense. And in the long term, it could screw us. His wages would be mad. He's not the most favourable player. I think he only played like 25 games for PSG this season. It's not really a lot, is it?
No.
But it's just the kid inside me, man. Like that little kid who loves watching these flary little players play football, man. It's just like a dream, Like, there's few players in my lifetime that I've really loved. Ronaldinho was one. Kaka was one. Filippo Inzaghi was another.
I love Kaka. Kaka was a baller, man.
Who else was there? Obviously, you have your Messi.
Yeah.
And then Eden Hazard and Neymar. Like, these are the guys who they make me love football even more, So it's just the kid inside me, bro. Like, I know it don't make sense. When people tell me the bad stuff, I know it, but it's just the kid in me, bro.
Okay, cool. So you're not one of them Chelsea fans that actually thinks it works. You just know that there's the bad sides to it, but you want him just because it's like a boy a dream, just seeing Neymar, that type of ticky-tacky player playing in your team, which is fair enough because we all have that guilt pleasure for certain individuals across football that we'd like to see in our team, even if it doesn't suit it. And, I have seen a lot more serious Chelsea fans out there, especially on Twitter, who feel that Neymar would be a great add to the team. He's 31 years old. He would absolutely ruin our wage structure. He would. It would actually blow it apart. Let's be serious. Right? And yes, it's great having him and doing all this ticky-tacky stuff and it looks really good and whatever. But you're forgetting who he's the current crop of players that he's coming in to play with. Like, again, another issue for me. He would be heavily relied on, like we did with Eden Hazard. And at 31 years old, only playing 20-odd games in a season, and he's been doing that for the last, I think, 3 seasons now, it makes no sense to bring him across. I feel that in the way that he is as well with his mentality and whatever. Look, Thomas Tuchel's got a relationship with him, did get the best out of him. I hear this. But eventually down the line, it might just not be working. Or, when he gets through the door, it might just be the same thing as the Lukaku thing, where he's just sitting there and he's annoyed and he's frustrated and he becomes toxic. And I just feel we need to stay away from players that, I don't know. I don't like, he's a good player, top player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not his biggest fan. I ain't. I think he's a good player. I actually preferred him in his Barcelona days than I did to his PSG days. And I know under Thomas Tuchel, he had a very good season. But I preferred that Barcelona Neymar to the one that I saw in France. He got that big injury. Ever since he's had that big injury, he hasn't really been able to put consistent performances or a run of games together throughout a season. And we need that. We can't have a player on such a big wage in our team hardly playing. And along with that, probably struggles to play with the forward line that we got, potentially. I don't see it. We can't be that team where we rely on him. And that's it. It's not how it works. So, for me, no, is the answer to that. Jem, check your notification. I said something about the bid of 25 mil for Sterling. There we go. The answer is no to that for me.
Jem, can I just ask you one thing though, bro?
Go on then.
Could you imagine it on a nice summer's day, bro? You've got a nice beer in your hands. You've got your Ray-Bans on, whatever you're wearing. You're just outside chilling and you're wearing that Neymar Chelsea shirt, bro. Just imagine that image. Just to, bro, that's like legacy stuff. Bro. You can tell your kids, like, oh, I watched Neymar, one of the best players of the generation, play for my football club at Stamford Bridge. Like, logically, bro, it doesn't make any sense. But the love of football inside you, I know for a fact, is like, I would love to see Neymar do a rainbow flick over like some Middlesbrough player's head.
I'll just do it to Man City or Liverpool. That'd be even better, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. It's what football is and why we love football, which is the beauty of it. And the beauty of it being players that can put smiles on your faces. And we were lucky enough to have a player at this football club who done that for me. And he will never be beaten for me. He will always be my favourite player. Eden Hazard. This boy brought happiness. I'm probably sure for Con as well. Con, when Eden Hazard was around and doing what he was doing at Chelsea, how much happiness did he bring to you? Having that type of player.
Bro, we could still lose a game and just watching Eden Hazard, I would still walk away with a bit of a smile on my face. Magical. I don't think I'll ever see a Chelsea player ever again who would bring a smile to my face like Hazard did.
Oh, facts, 100%. He was just a magician. I've never seen someone be able to turn up to a game, and if he decided that we were going to win today, based on his performance, we'd win. That is literally it. And that sounds bad, but teams, I'm pretty sure I watched something where they were saying, look, if Eden Hazard wanted to turn up today on that pitch, he would win that game, and there was nothing no one could do about it. No one in the Premier League, doesn't matter what team it was, could stop this guy. And we've seen it happen in certain games where Mourinho doubled him up with Herrera and that, and it worked and whatever. But overall, his ability to be able to just run. I always remember the West Ham goal with Declan Rice as a DM, funny enough, where he picks the ball up and he runs at the defence and he does like a shimmy 1-2 with his feet, and then he's through and then he hits it with his left foot into the bottom corner at Stamford Bridge, like magician. Yes, I get the Neymar thing. I get the whole love of players being able to score that beautiful goal or do that beautiful flick and whatever. It just doesn't make sense to me. That's all, guys. I'm sorry, and I don't want to burst your bubble, or when you go to sleep tonight, just remember me saying this. I want you to dream of him wearing a Chelsea shirt if that's your fantasy. Don't get me wrong, but for me, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But we move from him, and we're going to quickly just bring up this and then talk Thomas Tuchel, and then we're done, guys, pretty much. But keep smashing the like button. Con, this came up earlier. You're in charge. You're the Chelsea. You are the Chelsea boss and the owner and everything. You are that, yeah? You're in charge. How would you spend your 250 million? Now, I'm going to zoom in a bit because you'd probably be able to see the prices of some of these players for you. So, this is literally the list we've got. You've got 250 million to make Chelsea better going into next season. You tell me the players that you want, and I'll add them up on my phone, and I'll tell you when you're done. So go on, tell me. Who are you going for?
I'm going for Kounde.
55, yeah.
I'm going for Kimpembe.
Oh, really? Fuck, 30. That's a good one. Okay, go on.
I'm going for Klaus.
Well, you've done well there. It's 100 million defenders. Cool. All right.
I'm going for Sterling.
45 mil. All right. So you have got, well, he's done 145 mil at the moment. So you've got 105 mil left.
I'm going to go for... Why couldn't there be another midfielder there, man?
I'll think of the same. Oh. No midfield. Fuck the midfield. Fuck it. Commit to it. Just go for it.
Rafinha.
65, yeah. You got what? You got what? You've got 40 mil left.
Oh, there's only one player left for 40 mil on there, and that's Lewandowski. So,
oh, you smashed it though. Do you know what? I'm like you. I'm going to commit to no midfield. I'm sorry, I can't. I can't. Not for that money. I can't. I've got to stick by my laws. Part of the reason why I said I don't want Declan Rice is because of that. I can't then go and pick him. So I would go for, that was a good 250 mil spent. I'm not a big fan of Kimpembe though, but the 35 mil price tag is pretty good, to be fair, for a player that's got the ability to a degree. I just think he's like another Kurt Zouma.
I don't think.
I just see a mistake in him all the time. I don't think he's like level. I'd put Kounde and De Ligt in front of Kimpembe personally as a defender.
So would I, bro. But then I saw the Licht's price tag down there, and I was like, no, thank
Oh
you.
shit, yeah. Or even Fofana. Fofana? I don't know. Fofana's not a bad player though, is he? Really? To be fair.
No, I like him. I think he's great, but I don't think he's double the player Kimpembe is. 65 mil is a bit steep.
Do you know what? I think I'm going to be stuck with what you're doing here because I ain't going to be able to spend all my money. Shit. I can't even get Kounde and De Ligt because that's 150 mil, isn't it? That only gives me 100 mil. Do you know what? Actually, I can't. No, I'm going De Ligt. I'm going De Ligt, Kounde. That's 2 players. Sterling. Who else have we got? Klaus. And I've got 45 mil. Lewandowski. There you go. There you go. Kounde, De Ligt, Klaus, Sterling, Lewandowski.
No midfield, just vibes.
I fucked it. Yours is much better than mine. Mine's so unbalanced. I've got no other forward other than Sterling, Lewandowski, I suppose. Yeah, that's fine. I haven't got no inverted forwards. Yeah, no midfield. Fuck that. I can't pick Rice.
Who made this, man? It's only Declan Rice for midfield option. It's 100 mil. What we meant to do?
I just picked De Ligt for 100 mil, so I just went against my big rule. To be honest,
because he's actually a good player, Jim.
That's true. Thank you. Thanks for making me feel better on that one. That makes a lot. That makes a lot of sense. What are people saying in the chat? Viewers, let us know as well. Come on, what are you saying? Fofana, Kounde, Klaus, and Sterling. I'm sure you still got a bit of money left, bro. I ain't gonna add it up anyway, but 200 million are only for Rice. No, hell no. Klaus for De Ligt, Raf, and Kounde. What Mary's saying. Rafinha, Kounde, Klaus. You guys not adding this up. You got 250 mil. You guys are spending 100 mils. What are you doing? Do you not like any of these players? Is there other players you want? I'm saying. What's going on? The price is not bad at all. Kimpembe can be solid. Some people agree with Con, think he could be a solid. I mean, listen, for 35 mil, not bad. How old is he? How old is Kimpembe? I need to check that now. Let's have a look. Kimpembe is 26. He's 35 mil for 26-year-old. Mate, that's not a bad shout, is it?
I don't even think he's a bad player as well, bro. From when I've watched him, sure, I get why you say about the Zuma thing because he is kind of rash. But I think under Tuchel, I think he could be solid, bro. I can't lie.
Well, Tuchel's played with him before, isn't he? So maybe
he was brilliant under Tuchel as well.
Well, there you go. I didn't watch enough of it, so you did. So if that's the case, then I back that. But then they could say the same thing about Neymar. But no, can't have Neymar, mate. I'm sorry. If it was your choice, you'd have Neymar, blooming Kimpembe, blooming. Who else would you have? Actually, no, you don't like Declan Rice. So yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. You would have quite a good team. I think your ones that you picked were actually pretty decent, to be fair. Kounde, Sterling, De Ligt, Rice. You had to do it, Simus, didn't you, bro? You saw that we didn't pick Rice, and you had to pick him, didn't you? You just had.
Bro, my man's in debt. That's not 250 mil.
That's true. That's fucking true.
He's gone into his overdraft to pay for that.
Bro, where you get your loan from? That West? What's going on here? Fucking hell. Anyway, that was a bit of fun. Can I say none of them? Fucking hell. Kitten Ali doesn't want any of them, bro. Kitten Ali doesn't want any of them. Jesus, Kounde, Fofana, Klaus, Rafinha. I don't even know why is Jesus there? He's at Arsenal now. Why would you hate Chelsea HQ, bro? Why have you got Jesus there? You could have put another midfielder there, bro. You could put anyone other than Jesus.
Yeah.
Made no sense.
Another midfielder, yeah.
Who though? That's the problem. Who else is there out there other than Rice? You've got Sangari. I don't want that Rabiot guy though. No way.
Rabiot?
No, bro. No, don't get me started. Not that. Not that.
Oh, what a blast from the past.
Mate, I actually wanted. I don't know about you, but I actually wanted Basuma. To be fair, I like Basuma. I actually think he's quite a good.
Did you?
Yeah.
25 million is hard to argue the downsides of that, to be honest. Besides the court case, of course.
The court case is the only thing that holds him back in it, but he's a very good player. I was at the bridge when we drew 1-1, and I've never seen a midfielder. I have in the past, but I've never seen a midfielder make our midfield look so average. And he was literally just jogging past. He wasn't even sprinting full pelt, just jogging past our midfield. I think it was Jorginho and Kante. He just made him look so average. It was ridiculous. Remember that game as well. Sorry, Con, I know you like Jorginho, but he really looked bad.
Nah, bro, I remember that game. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy's a baller.
Mate, he's it's not that. It's like he knows how to position himself. He's so good with the ball at his feet. He's box to box. He wins tackles. He's good in the air. And he always looks forward. And I want that. That's what everything that I wanted was there. Barella, Mary. But Barella's not even in. You could have thrown Barella in that list as well. She's saying other than Jesus, you could have threw Barella in. Fair enough. Fixed it. Hakimi, Kounde, Fofana, Klaus, Rafinha. No midfield for you then declared as well, all right? Okay, fair enough, bro. Fair enough.
It means we're playing Timo Werner next season. Let's go.
What's wrong with Timo Werner, bro?
No, bro. The question is, what's right with Timo Werner, bro? That's the hard one to answer.
Hey, can you imagine Sterling and Werner up front? That would be pace, bro.
I don't want to. I don't want to, bro. Could you imagine how bad that would be? It's terrible.
Sterling, Werner, and fucking Pulisic. Oh my god, can you imagine that? Nah, we can't be doing that. Football Style says De Ligt, Sterling, Kounde, Lewandowski. 40% of people don't want Neymar at Chelsea. Are you lot high? Yeah, I'm high, bruv. I'm high. I've already told you. I don't want Ampadu. What's your thing with Ampadu, Con? Do you think it'd be a good option?
People tell me he's had a good loan spell. I haven't watched the team he plays for because they're like some relegation sort of fodder team, like in Serie A. So I'm not watching them. And I don't trust him. Like every manager who's had him, like they've looked at him in pre-season and sent him on loan. You know, so
that's facts as well. I don't know why we're gonna. Do you know what? We're gonna finish it off quickly with talking on Thomas Tuchel and our fan base because I think it's worth talking about. Still 270 people. We're big up to every single one of you. Smash the likes, guys. Get this over 200 likes. Subscribe if you're new. Go and follow Con on his channel, on his Twitter as well, which is literally his name. So go and check him out as well. Con CFC on Twitter. It's a good important way to start talking about Thomas Tuchel because he has been promised 6 summer signings, and I do feel that there's going to be a lot more pressure on him now, and that pressure I feel is going to come from our fan base. The reason I say that is because he's been given this licensing or authority to now kind of build the team he wants. Something that I did want. I'm pretty sure you wanted the same thing. You know, we wanted to see this guy backed and give him what he wants and whatever. But what worries me, Con, is this fan base. Because let's say he does has a good, decent window, and we finish 3rd, and we win an FA Cup. I feel people will want to call for his head. I feel some of this fan base are waiting for that mistake. I feel that they don't really want to give him this chance because they feel that his style of football is not Chelsea. And that's what it is for me. I think they look at how he's worked with the current crop of players we've had for the last I'll just say a year and a half. And from what they've seen, they feel that it's not going to get any better and part of the problem, or the big problem, is Thomas Tuchel. What's your thoughts on Thomas Tuchel and our fan base? And not all of them. I was saying all of them, because a lot of us are backing him 100%, but the small minority of fans that feel that he might not be the right manager moving forward.
I absolutely adore Thomas Tuchel, bro. I absolutely adore the man. I feel kind of sorry for him in the summer window because as much as I want him backed and I want him to have his players, at the same time, he's not a football scout, you know? I don't want him just solely picking out every single player he wants. Like, I want someone helping him out with that, carry the burden. I don't want that. To be honest, I don't want that sort of pressure on just one person alone anyway, let alone our manager, you know, who's had so much to deal with. Shout out to him and Bowley meeting in Ibiza, by the way. I wish I was there, man. Thomas Tuchel enjoying the single life, the false life, man. I respect it. But you're right with this fan base, bro. There's definitely a few people, they're not saying it now, but with how they're talking about Thomas Tuchel, they don't want him to have this opportunity. And as soon as he makes a mistake, they're going for his throat, bro. And I don't know why that is. I have no idea why that is, because a couple of months ago, especially during the sanction period, everybody was saying, I love Tuchel. Let's give him a lifetime contract. I want him back. I don't know what's changed, bro. And are people just bored? Are people just trying to be different? I don't know, but I'm backing this guy. I'm giving him 2 years. Even if next year is a bit underwhelming. I finally wanted a manager backed for a sustained period at Chelsea Football Club, man. You know? But will it happen?
No.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And this is the crazy thing about it. We have been banging on as a fan base about having managers that get backed. We never back a manager. They win things and they're gone, and our board is shit. They don't give them chances, and we're never going to be that team, and blah, 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 blah. We get to a position where he is starting to be backed, and you can see it already. Lukaku being sold in as quick as 4 to 5 days, because clearly Thomas Tuchel didn't want him in the team or didn't feel that he fits the team. Todd Bowley negotiating that for peanuts. Let's be serious. 8 million to 10 million euros is nothing. Like, what are we getting out of that? Nothing. For that step to happen already shows me that they're going to back him. You know, that they're going to back him. And now he's getting the chance to be backed. Give the guy the time. The issue you got as a fan base is that the fan base needs to understand their expectations of him. What is it that they require or feel that is a good season? And obviously that will be based upon our summer window, obviously who we bring in and whatever. But I'm telling you now, even if we bring Dembele, Sterling, De Ligt, Klaus, one other defender, say we brought 5 players in and maybe keep Conor Gallagher and whatever, we are still not winning the title. That's my opinion. Because my expectations next season is for him to be in the Champions League and to be given the time to mould these players together. We saw what happened when Lampard got given the money. We saw it. And he had 5 or 6 players come in. It doesn't just click like that straight away. He needs time for it to work. The only way it works quicker is if he brings players in that he understands and they understand him, or they've played in his system before. But they still then got to play with players, different players, find the right chemistry. There's things that are not just on Tuchel, is what I'm trying to get at. And it's too easy for us as fans to sit there and always point the fingers at him. You know, it's always his problem. Well, no, it's not always his problem. There is a player problem. Some of these players, I feel, are not good enough. And we got found out last season. Our squad depth stinks. It does. And we're probably not going to be able to improve on that squad depth to the level that we need to, because we've got too much to do to replace the first 11 at the moment. You know, and at the same time, we're trying to get rid of some of the bad players that need to go out of this squad as well. Like, we could look better going into next season from 1 to 11, but it's the depth, yeah. And then once having that 1 to 11, it's how quick can they adapt and how can it work. But the one thing that this fan base have got to do is they've just got to give this guy the time. We're not going to win, you know, we're not going to go and win titles straight away. I'm sorry. We're just not in a position to do so. What we're doing right now is what Arsenal and Man United had to do when their blip came. But the difference with them is they just kept falling down. Their owners and their infrastructures and systems that they currently had in place didn't keep them above flow. It made them worse. They've gone backwards. Look at Man United at the moment. Awful. The biggest thing that we need to see now, in this particular period is how much will they back him? Yeah. How much will they back him? And then what Thomas Tuchel does next season with the players that he has and how we move forward. Where do we end up finishing? You know, like, these are things that we're all going to have to wait for. And people might not like the way he plays football or how he gets them to play. But remember one thing. He managed to get these bang average, some of these players, not all of them, some of them are very good. Some of these players are bang average. And he managed to make them look pretty good in a short space of time. And he deserves all the backing in the world with all of the shit that he's had to go through with the sanctions, everything, splitting up with his own wife, like personal stuff, you know, having to deal with Lukaku, which I'm so glad he's gone. Like, he's had to do so much, and I don't know, Con. I'm like you, mate. I just feel that we need to be patient, give the boy the time, give the guy the time, and you get rid of him Con. You get rid of him tomorrow. Who comes into Chelsea and makes us tick and makes us a better Chelsea under their philosophy? That's what I need to understand. How many top managers are there out there if you get rid of Thomas Tuchel to come in and do whatever it is that we need to do to become fully successful in the league again? I don't think there's many, is there? I genuinely don't think there is many.
Bro, there's not many. There's none. Like, I've seen Thomas Tuchel out-coach Pep. I've seen him rock up to the Bernabeu with Loftus-Cheek at right wing back and, almost pull off a miracle. I've seen him out-coach Klopp many a times. Players let him down. Like, he's a special manager. He's tactically so great. And he gave us that Champions League a bit premature. Like, how he got us to win that Champions League and to win it so convincingly as well. It's just how good of a manager he is. And, if anyone deserves time, it's him. Because he's proven he can outclass the very best in management, with inferior squads. He's already won us the biggest prize in domestic football. Like, if you can't back Tuchel, you're never going to back a manager at Chelsea football.
We've got one. We've managed to get a fisher throw a hook out in the river and pull one in, because we've got one in the chat at the moment. So Chelsea all the way is saying Tuchel is part of the problem, and then goes on to say, give Tuchel time, but you don't want to give players time. What? I don't know. So I'm lost. Stop talking about Tuchel. There isn't any. It's a myth. What are you trying to say, bro? Maybe Tuchel system is playing sideways and backwards passes with side pass, slow pace, and playing attackers as wingbacks, wingback merchant. And then he's calling him a fluke.
This guy's a troll, bro. You can't be serious, man. Like, how can you be a fluke? How can you have sanctions, be the only team to play every game through COVID, have injury crisis, have your 100 mil signing absolutely flop, and you still finish third behind City and Liverpool, get to 2 cup finals, and win a cup, win a Club World Cup the first time in this club's history? How is that a fluke? And then the year before that, he wins the Champions League. That's not a fluke, my friend. That's class.
Bro, I haven't got the energy to even respond to people like this, because I'm sorry, bro. Like, thank you for like watching and following and whatever, but I can't. I can't explain. I love Tuchel up until this season when this attackers all started regressing. But you miss a big point with this. And I've been explaining this on this channel all the way throughout the season when we've reviewed games, previews, reviews, all of this. I've always said to you guys, the problem with the attackers last season was that none of them took their chances. They forced Thomas Tuchel to having to keep switching things because none of them were consistent enough in their own games. Granted, some of them got played out of position. Pulisic. Yeah, Werner sometimes when he did play. Ziyech, all right, not being a free, whatever, granted. But we never found the right chemistry. It never just... Con, was there a game last season when you looked at any front three and went, yes, it's ticking, it's ticks, that's the one. That's the three that we got to play?
Nope. Nope. Not once.
That's what I'm trying to say to people. You're saying, that you like Tuchel until the attackers started regressing. But then maybe it's our attackers as well. Maybe it is the attackers. Maybe they just can't play in the free as the free. Maybe
yeah, bro, but look at the collective of attackers we have. Like, you have Ziyech, who came from a very heavy possession side in Ajax. You have Timo Werner, who came from a Bundesliga side with acres of space in behind player, right? You have Christian Pulisic. I don't even know what system fits this guy the best. Kai Havertz, same as like this. It's such a mix of different systems. Like, how can you get all this group to be functioning together? I don't get it, because they're from different systems, different molds of players. Like, any manager's going to struggle with that core group of attackers there.
There's nothing that fumes me more when someone, and I've seen people do it on Twitter, when they go, if you put Klopp or Pep in charge of this Chelsea team, they'd win a league. That annoys me, because that ain't true. That is by far from, especially Klopp. Have you seen how naive Klopp is in his own system? Doesn't know how to switch systems. This guy can switch systems within a game. This guy's played how many different systems last year? Back threes, back fours, different styles of fours. 4-2-2-2, 4-3-3. You know, different ideas. He's tried different things, and maybe because he's been forced into doing it, because we had a lot of injuries last season. You know, we couldn't play the three because we were unable to do it with the personnel that we had, and we had Malang Sarr playing left back. Yeah, like people forget that this guy he's had his hand forced with quite a limited team in quality from the bench as well, because the bench quality was just not good enough. The players that came on for the ones that got injured were not keeping it to the same level. He couldn't stick to the same system because the players that were coming on for the players that got injured weren't good enough to continue it so that we were successful. It's not just the forwards, it's all of them. You know, in all positions, I'm sorry, saying in all positions, we struggled because we didn't have the quality. That's the problem. And that ain't Tuchel's fault, in my eyes. He just hasn't got the crop of players that he needs to be where he needs to be. But now he's got the opportunity. You know, now he's got the opportunity, and we're going to have to see what happens. Big up to Nathaniel in the house. Big fan of Conman is what Nathaniel says. He's a big fan of you, bro. Tuchel deserves whatever and how many players he wants is what Dills feels as well. KH No Filter Football, guys. Go and check him out on YouTube as well. He says, how many years have we given Cho? How many years have we given Pulisic? And how many years have we given Kepa? Surely you must be trolling. He must be talking about that guy in the chat, from what I understand. What else have we got here quickly? Tuchel deserves, we've read that one already. Cho versus Brighton, Pulisic versus Real, Werner versus every damn team is what he says there. So why was Mount not benched as fast as the others? Do you want to answer that one, Con? Why was Mason Mount not benched or played more than the other forwards in your eyes? Do you know why? Or do you think there was just a bit of favouritism with Mount?
I think he earned a little bit more trust from Tuchel. So if he has a bad game, he'll start again. And what he offers, even when he plays bad in terms of the pressing, etc., Pulisic doesn't do that. Werner doesn't really do that. And Werner as well, like during this season, he really started backing out of 50-50s and stuff. Like he started acting like a bit of a wimp. Obviously, Lukaku don't give you that. Kai gives you that a little bit, to be fair, decent presser. But like, I just think overall what Mason Mount brings, even on a poor game, is a lot better than what any of our attackers bring in a poor game. So, and he's not even an attacker. Like he's not even playing. He's not like this right forward. You know, he's a midfielder and he's still outperforming the rest. So what's that show you about our attackers? If Tuchel's system's so bad, how is Mount, who's not even an attacker, got nearly 30 GNA for the season?
In common sense, isn't it? It really is. Sometimes you just got to look at it as it is. There's no. I feel sometimes people make things complicated in life. Sometimes it is just how you look at it, and like what Con said there, he's right. That is literally it. How can a midfielder or an 8 or whatever you want him is, who's being played as sometimes a forward, be better than your actual natural forwards? Makes no sense. Con, apparently you did say, RD's saying Con was like, this is the best front three at the Southampton game. Well, maybe at that point, because we was all confused at who should be the front three. he's talking about Werner, Havertz and Mount. He's talking about.
No, I know what game he's talking about. I remember the tweets that day, so I remember Werner playing mad. I said I wanted to see that front three against Madrid. I didn't say it's our best front three, though. Don't just assume, bro. Just because, you know, it might... Some people are a bit reactionary and say stuff like that.
You blame the players for a system that was kept when we had no wing-backs, really. You blame the players for a system. That's not true, though. We played with the wing-backs and we forced players. All right, Pulisic, granted, and Cho. But eventually he switched it and we played 4. We had an extra.
But even with the wing-back, that's such a cop-out when people say that, because if you look at where our wing-backs actually occupy the pitch, they're out wide and high up the pitch, like wingers at times. So I don't like that. I don't like that, because if Hudson-Odoi played ball at wing-back, because at times he was operating like a winger. It's not just like so black and white where it's like, oh, they're wing-back, so they must be defensive. No, not at all. It's the biggest cop-out when I say that. It's a casual opinion. That I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude, but it's so casual if you think wing-back just equals defensive. Like, it's just not true.
No, facts. I hear what you're saying. What is the breaking news? Not much, to be honest. It's more of a review today. We'll be getting more breaking news and we will be highlighting any new signings that come through the door Guys, we were about 15 likes away, actually, or 14 likes away from 200 likes. Please do that. I'm just finishing off with some of your comments, and we are going to finish off soon. Go on, I'll give you 5 minutes before we have to shoot, because I'm sure Con's got things to do. Get your questions in. Get your questions in the chat, and we'll bring them up. Any question related to Chelsea, yeah? If you're going to ask Con, ask him now, me, whatever. Give us give us what you want, and we'll try and answer them as quickly as possible. Get your questions in now, guys. But yeah, there's a lot to be done. There's a lot to go through for Chelsea. I expect lots to happen in such a short space of time. I do think there will be a flood of players coming in, and I think it might be on the back of each other. But we'll have to see what Bowley and Tuchel have in hand. Ilias is with 50 away from 66k subscribers. So guys, please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel now, and let's get there. Let's make it happen. Sal Pulisic, Cho, Ruben Loftus-Cheek cover, and he's planning to play Rafinha as a wing back. Then clowns aren't seeing his deficiencies. What? How do you know that he's going to play Rafinha as a wing back? Because one article said he wanted to do that. I've not heard any other tier 1 or tier journalists come out and say that. Like, come on, man. You're better than this. Come on. You're better than this. We'll cover it the same as... Oh, God, fucking hell, mate. If Arsenal get Rafinha, we have to sell Werner and Ziyech and get Dembele and Sterling, is what Mo's saying as well. Am I worried about the transfer window? No, not yet. I still think it's very early. I still think there's a lot to happen, and I think we just have to be patient. We got no choice. We have to. They know how big of the job this is for Chelsea to this summer, to make sure that they back Tuchel and give him the strength, because we are losing players. They're going to have to get it done, and they may have to pay that extra bit to get certain players. But there needs to be numbers. It can't be 2 or 3. It's got to be at least 5 or 6 for me. Con, how many players do you think Chelsea need this summer for you?
2 centre backs, 2 forwards, midfielder, backup 6.
Yeah, you're like me. 6. Yeah, I agree as well. Who is our forward for this next season? I'm going to stick by saying Kai Havertz. I don't think we'll get Lewandowski, even though I think he wants to go Barcelona. I don't think there's many options. And Kunku will be available next season. It could be an option at a later stage. Con, do you agree Havertz as your forward for next season?
Yeah, totally agree, bro.
Yeah.
Kai Havertz.
If we only bring in Sterling in attack, where do we finish next season? Con?
Have to see what we do at the back as well. But yeah, I'm a bit worried if it's only Sterling in attack. Still back to get 4th though, because I rate Thomas Tuchel highly. I
agree. I back the manager. I think the manager's good enough to still get us in Champions League football. It'll be interesting to see who we bring in if we only bring in Sterling as well. So you'd expect maybe a DM. Maybe Rice comes through the door. If we've still got that much money left. Who knows? Who knows? Question 1 from Astrid says, question to Con, is Tuchel a coach or a manager? If he ain't a manager, don't we need him to be one to set the base with new owner like Jose Mourinho did with Roman? Spend. I don't get that question too much. So what are you asking him here?
Yeah, I'm a bit confused. What
are you asking me? Is he a coach or is he a manager? Basically, if he ain't a manager, don't we need him to be the one to set the base with new owners like Jose Mourinho did? Spend. So they're basically saying, does he just, if he has been given that authority, which supposedly he has, should his mind not just be to quickly spend as much as possible and get as many players in the door? I think that's what they're trying to say.
If he ain't a manager, so he said if we ain't a manager, but if he's I'm confused. That much makes sense there.
Basically, because no, it don't, does it? Let's go to the question 2. Second part of the question is, if Tuchel fails to force his way on Todd, would that mean Todd will become lethargic owner and only a businessman? That's even confusing more. Am I reading this wrong?
So I think that part implies like if Todd Bowley doesn't give Tuchel what he wants, basically, I think.
If Tuchel fails to force his way on Todd, would that mean Todd will become lethargic owner and only a business? Oh, I get what you mean. Like, would he just go and get his own players rather than backing the manager and just bring him in based on their names?
Oh,
Um,
I'm
yeah,
still a
but
bit
I'm
confused. I can't lie.
again. What's the question? I don't get it. You're answering stuff. What is the question, Astrid? I'm sorry. I'm bare lost, man. You've lost me on my own channel. I don't even know what to say. Who do you think? What do you think about Tuchel not being a fan of Kounde? How do we know that's true? Does anyone know that's true? Because
I
I don't
think
know.
there's just like a report saying that it's more of a Marina signing, but at the same time, do we pursue him for this long if it's someone Tuchel doesn't rate? No, I don't think so.
LR24 says, even if we only sign centre backs, DM, and wing backups, we still the top 3 team. So he feels that if we get a centre back, DM, and wing backup, that we'd still finish in the top 3. Even with Spurs strengthening as much as they are, Arsenal buying Gabriel Jesus and another 2 odd players that they bought, maybe it would be all right. Maybe you're right. Maybe we'll just go back to being that team that wins 1-0 and have a solid defence and not
But to
score
be
any
fair,
goals.
do people not realise that we've lost Christensen, we've lost Rudiger, we're more than likely losing Aspi and Alonso, we've lost Lukaku, we're more than likely losing Ziyech, we probably might lose one of Ferner and Pulisic. Like, that's a lot of players to lose.
Too much, isn't it? It's well too much for me. Without replacing as well, like, we need to make sure we strengthen that, man. That's a lot, man. That's a big hit. I'd expect many signings through the door. But on that note, guys, thank you very much for tuning into the show. It's like I said, it was more of a relaxed show today, overview of what's happening. We will come back with breaking as it comes. Hopefully next week we'll start seeing players coming through the door, which means we will be doing streams on them once they come in as well. But we will be keeping you up to date for the rest of this week on any new news that hangs around Chelsea as well. We've done an hour and 46 minutes today. Con's debut on GNA TV, and hopefully not his last as well. I'm sure we'll be able to try and get him on again. But Con, any final thoughts, mate?
No, I just appreciate you having me on, mate. I like talking football with you because more or less at the same time we're saying the same things, you know. And
Yeah.
no, I'm a big fan, bro. I watch your videos quite a lot, to be honest. Very entertaining.
I appreciate it, mate. I do appreciate the support as well. We are growing slowly. We've only been going for over just a year and 5 months now. We're near at 6,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is not bad. It's for the first year and a bit. We're growing at some extensive speed. So hopefully we'll be at the 10K by the end of this year, which is going to be our aims. You will be seeing Con on here a lot more. Pies as well. We'll try and get both of them on at the same time, and we can have like an open debate after the summer window has concluded, which we will be doing on here. So once we've got a review of the summer window, we'll sit down and we'll talk about the players that have come in and what we think Thomas Tuchel's going to do in systems, formations. So much. There's so much that we're going to be going through, and you're going to. Pretty sure you guys are going to enjoy it as well. Seba says, "Peace out, good show as well." Yeah, guys, take care of yourselves. I will be back maybe tomorrow, maybe Tuesday. Depends. We'll see how the news gets on in and around Chelsea. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll be back very soon. Peace out, guys.